I'll talk a little bit about how you think or how prevalent that concept is now within major college athletic departments now. Have you seen it change since you began that program at Missouri?
Not near enough. I mean, it is starting to become conversation, but this is where you get into the issue of masculinity and just within sports, what that term means and what that term looks like. I would define toughness as knowing yourself to such a depth and degree that when adversity faces you, you know how to respond to push through those moments. If we do not ever dig within ourselves, being vulnerable, to figure out how we think in those moments, essentially, we're in a very, very tough situation where we're playing roulette and hopefully it works out. So I think we are seeing some things societally that are allowing men to feel a little bit more comfortable sharing some of the things going on mentally for them, but not near enough. And that's what I want to accelerate. And this is something that people are very surprised by when they talk to me. It's not a shot at coaches. It's not a shot at the NCAA. It is an ever-growing level of anxiety within this generation due to the heavy prevalence of technology and a heavy period of affirmation that is creating issues that have not been seen to this degree ever before. And so they're trying to react to that. And in order to react to that properly, it would take a tenderizing of everybody within the realm of athletics. And there's a lot of, your old school natured coaches and people who don't quite understand what that means or its importance.
Wow, that was a lot to unpack right there. So how do you think, in your opinion, how do you balance the old school mentality with what needs to take place in order for these young guys to be successful? And I imagine that from the old school perspective, there's a lot of fear around the unknown from those guys. So how do you think, and how much time do you think it would take to kind of start to blend those two worlds a little better?
I think it's going to take a while. Yeah. But the recipe to get there is not so difficult. But actually doing it is what is difficult. So, this is something that I've discussed many times, where think of a coach who is now making $1 million coaching in the SEC, who has never had to worry about any of these things. And in his development as a coach, where he was in the pursuit of mastery as a coach, he didn't have to learn these things. Now he's here. He's on the back end of his career. This is everything I worked for. I'll have a GA do that stuff, right? Like, that is kind of the mentality that they grow into, and it's deserved to a certain extent. But now you say, hey, we have different athletes now, and we have to change our messaging. Well, that's changing them as a coach. And if you have $1 million in the bank account, that's a tough change to make for a lot of these guys. And so again, open-mindedness to truly coming down to the level of 15 to 22-year-olds and getting a deep understanding of what's actually at work. Because people within the psychological context can tell you till they're blue in the face what's going on. But until you feel that from all of your kids, the kids that you care about, it's just very hard to want to embrace change at that level. And I think that's the fight that we're kind of facing.